have a confession to make. For about the past 3 years, I have struggled with a severe addiction. An addiction to The Bachelor. Bachelor season is the greatest time of the year for me. My best friends and I get together every Monday night, order pizza, bring tons of snacks, and gather around a huge flat screen for the greatest 2 hours of the entire week. We even had our own Bachelor fantasy league that we took very seriously. So for those of you that don't know, the premise of the show is that The Bachelor goes on several dates with women. Some of these are group dates with multiple women, and some are one-on-one dates where he gets to know them individually. On the group dates, the women don't get to know him that well because they're surrounded by so many others. However, in the one-on-one dates, they get to know him better and grow up what seems to be a stronger relationship with him. In the same way, our relationship with God strengthens when we spend alone time getting to know him better. In my past, I guess you could say that I only experienced God in group settings. And I never really took the time to get to know him one-on-one by praying or reading my Bible. My relationship with God wasn't strong enough, so when I would leave these church camps and come back to my everyday life, my temporary emotional high was gone, and all I focused on was my friends. I looked away from the Lord and began to seek. And as my faith started to deteriorate, so did everything else in my life. And this is similar to what happened to Peter. Jesus had just finished feeding the 5,000 with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and needed some alone time to pray. So he told his disciples to sail across the Sea of Galilee, and that he would meet them on the other side. While the disciples were on the boat, a huge storm came. And in the midst of the storm, they saw Jesus walk across the water towards them, and became extremely frightened because they thought he was a ghost. In Matthew 14, 27 through 31, Jesus spoke to them and said, "Don't be afraid. Take courage, I am here." But Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over to the side of the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus. But when he saw the strong winds and waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" When Peter took his focus off the Lord, he began to sink. And this so easily happens to us in life when we get distracted by the winds and waves of life around us and take our eyes off the Lord. My winds and waves have always been pride. In my past, this has been a huge issue I've struggled with, and when life seems to be going fine for me, I think I have everything under control and that I don't need God. Instead of praising God for the good things that happen in my life, I would just praise myself. Recently, as I was getting accepted into colleges, I would think to myself, wow, I'm the best. I can't believe I did this all on my own. Of course, I was forgetting that the only reason this was happening to me was because of the gifts and talents that Jesus had given me in the first place. Every time I become too prideful and look away from the Lord, he brings me back to him and humbles me to make me realize that there's no way I can do life without him. Just like Peter, when we take our eyes off the Lord, we begin to sink. When Peter has his eyes locked on God and is walking on the water towards him, it was like summertime for me, which meant being plugged into the church, constantly going to church camps, and being surrounded by believers every day. During this time, I thought my relationship with God was strong enough, but this was only because I was experiencing God in group settings and never really took the time to grow my relationship with him. As the summer came to an end and the school year started back again, my relationship with God wasn't as strong as it should have been, as I easily gave into temptation and started to look away from God due to the own pride in my life. As time went on, I realized that I wasn't as fulfilled as I had felt in the summer, and that something was missing in my life. Although life seemed to be going fine for me, I realized that I needed God and that I was sinking spiritually. No matter how hard we try, we just can't handle the winds and waves of life on our own. I know because I tried to handle mine, but I couldn't. My junior year of high school, a close friend of mine passed away. And during this time, instead of giving my grief to the Lord, like I knew I should, I tried to handle it on my own. During this time, I was surrounded by my friends constantly, grieving and processing what had happened. At first, it was good for me to be around them all the time, just because it was such a hard time to go through. But as time went on, I started to find my strength in my friend group, and not the Lord. I was around my friend group so much that they started to replace God during my life. During this time, I still attended church regularly. I was physically at church, but my mind would be focused on when I would see them next and what we would be doing. I was so comfortable with my friends that they pulled me away from my relationship with God. But as time went on, I realized that my friends just couldn't fill this void that was left by my pain and grief, and that only God could fill it. When Peter realized that he was sinking, he cried out, "Save me, Lord." And as I too realized that I was sinking and I couldn't handle this on my own, I cried out to the Lord to save me. I thought I could handle myself during this time. I thought I had everything under control, but the Lord humbled me and made me realize he was the only one that could make me whole again. Nothing else could. I feel like oftentimes in life we search for things to fulfill us, whether that be through a job, relationship, materialistic things, or even our social status. Sometimes when these things go right for us, we forget that the Lord is the only one that can fulfill us. In my past, I searched for my fulfillment in my reputation. And as long as I was well-liked and people thought I was funny, I was happy and thought that I didn't need God because I had everyone else's approval. However, the second that something went wrong or I heard that someone was talking bad about me, I instantly felt empty inside and realized that this fulfillment was only temporary. Every time I've turned away from the Lord, he has brought me back to him and made me realize that I need him. And that he's the only one that can bring me true joy. None of these worldly things can the way that he does. Sometimes in life, we get so caught up in our own pride and the ways of the world that we just need to stop, pause, step back, and like Peter did, cry out, "Save me, Lord." It is when the Lord humbles us and makes us realize that we need him that we are able to see just how great of a God we serve and how small we are compared to him. Hebrews 13:8 says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. We serve a God who never changes and loves us unconditionally, no matter how far we run, no matter how much we sin, and no matter how much we mess up. We are the ones who constantly turn from him and go back to our sinful ways and our pride. But God is unwavering and will never change. We are imperfect, and sometimes during the storm we get scared and turn away from God. But God will never look away from us. Not during the calm waters, and not during the wind.